Good morning. All right, I want to make sure I get you guys out on time for lunch. So thank you, welcome. Thanks for coming to my session. If you are here, you're probably stressed out, right? That's why you came here. Okay, so let's talk about that. So just a quick warning, I am not a medical professional. I'm not going to diagnose you. I don't know what you're going through. But what I'm gonna do is share my personal story, but I don't wanna talk about me. This is not all about me. This is gonna be about you guys. So I'm going to expect some participation later during our session. I'm gonna come around, I'm gonna ask you guys some questions. We're gonna do some exercises, okay? So I expect full participation from you guys. All right, so just some background about me. I have been in real estate for quite some time. Over 17 years. I built and sold a multi-million-dollar real estate business, and that consisted of residential property management, construction, maintenance, and design, and also condo association management. So pretty significant. And everyone always asks me, why did you sell? Do you regret it? Why did you do that? You had the success, right? And I tell people, I was burnt out. So I'm sharing my story now about what I did and why I did it. So what am I doing now? So I do property management still on a much smaller scale. Friends and family only, referrals only. No one who's gonna call me in the middle of the night and say, I have a flood and my sink is leaking and really it's like 2 drips in their sink, like something like that. I can't deal with it. I'm done with that. In addition to that, what really brings me joy is helping people like you. So property managers, helping them grow their businesses, have the success that they want because I was able to have the success that I wanted. So more than anything, I'm a mother of 3. These are my 3 nuggets. This is why I live, right? So you can see the age difference between them, if you noticed. 24, 4, and 2. And the question I get after that is, why did you start over? So I'll tell that story later. It's not gonna happen right now, but you know, my 24-year-old, she's off adulting, doing her adult thing in Richmond, Virginia. She's loving it. She's like, I'm out, peace out. As soon as she graduated from college, she's just like, I'm not gonna be home with these children. I am leaving. She got an internship in New York and then straight to Virginia, and I haven't seen her since. The other thing is I am a recovering stress addict. I'm standing up here saying that. I didn't realize I was addicted to stress. It was so ingrained in my everyday, and I didn't realize how much I missed it. I wanted it all the time. I just got so used to it, and it just became normal. And people around me made me think it was really normal. So when I didn't have it anymore, I felt odd and strange, and I didn't know what to do with myself. So I went on a journey of kind of rebirth and self-discovery. So I sold my business in 2018, and in 2019, I read a book a week. You know, I needed to learn, I needed to figure things out, and I wasn't too sure exactly what I was looking for, but I was looking. I just needed to fill the time and fill the space. In 2020, of course, the world shut down, right? But the amazing thing is everything went online. So instead of books, I did everything. I did absolutely everything. I did every course, I did every program, I went to every conference. I did all the things because I was like, oh my gosh, the world is at my fingertips. There it is sitting right in front of me. I can just access that information. And I was downloading information every day. I did programs, I did challenges. I needed to feed that need. And I didn't know exactly what I was feeding, but I just needed to do something. So 2020, I started focusing more on the property management side. So I went to a bunch of things in 2021, which has been great. And I've been learning a lot of stuff on the property management side that I didn't have time for before. You know, when I was building my business and running my business, I was just focused on running the business. I maybe went to a conference every year, maybe every 2, but I didn't have time to learn the way that I could. And then when things became more accessible and it was online, then I could. So I decided to do a bunch of things. And now that I have free time, now I can travel as well. So I've been just trying to take in as much information as possible, which I've been doing. But one of the things I realized was I have a very powerful perspective. I went through an amazing journey. I built up something very successful. And now on the other side of that, I can see a lot of the things I did wrong. I can see what I did right. And I can see what other people are doing, and not just in our industry, but in business in general. And so I could take all that information and I can kind of file it away because I knew it was stuff that I needed to hang on to and to keep. So one of the things I realized was I created some new goals for myself, and one of them was to help to elevate the business of real estate. I've been in real estate for so long, and I figured, hey, I know this industry, let me start there. And so I started doing coaching and consulting, kind of by accident, actually. Some of my old competitors reached out to me and said, hey, I heard you sold your business. Can you come help me build up my business? And I was like, sure, I'm not doing anything. Why not? And so I started doing it that way, and then picked up another client, and then we went into COVID, and I realized, hey, I can talk to anybody in any place. So then I picked up clients in California, and Oklahoma, and Texas, and Florida, and just everywhere, just helping them because they felt really isolated. COVID was really isolating for a lot of people. And what they didn't realize was everybody was going through the same exact thing. So I started a program called the PM Business School, where I'm helping property managers grow and streamline their businesses. And my goal is to do it with less stress and less staff. Nobody wants more staff. Everyone says the same thing. I don't want another person on my team. Sorry, I'm dehydrated from yesterday. One of the programs I took, and I talk about this all the time, this is one of my favorite programs. I think this and like Think and Grow Rich is like my annual planning thing. So I took this program called Lifebook. It's on the Mind Valley platform, if you've heard of it. And this couple, John and Missy Butcher, they created almost like a goal-setting type of program. And I'm very much a goal setter. You know, I do my vision board every year. I have my goals written out by November. I know exactly what I'm gonna do the next year. This was kind of like goal setting to the max, right? It was goal setting accelerated. But one of the things that this program did that no other program did was it made me think about my belief system and why I wanted the things that I wanted. Not just what do you want, but why do you want it? And it also made me think about why it was important to me. So it digs a little bit deeper into goal setting. And this was part of my recovery journey. It was part of the reason that I realized that I had problems and I made the mistakes that I made along my journey. Because I had a belief system that I was following. It was helping me make decisions, which were bad decisions, but it helped me understand why I made those decisions. So one of the things I got out of it is what I really valued. The reason I wanted to be an entrepreneur was because I wanted to be free. I wanted that freedom, right? You build this business so you can have time for your friends and your family and go vacationing and do all the things that, you know, they advertise on TV. And I didn't do any of that. I mean, I didn't even vacation. You couldn't get me out of the office. I was working 100% of the time. I opened my eyes, I looked at my cell phone, and I checked my email. I'd go to sleep checking my email, and then I'd put my phone right by my bed, and I'd go to sleep. Isn't that crazy? That was normal. So I needed a change. I decided I wasn't going to do that anymore. I was going to live with more intention. I was going to be more intentional with my time because my time was so extremely valuable. This picture on the left is a picture of me and my daughter. We have this creek that's right near my house. And the water just flows, and you can just sit there for hours and just hear the water go by. And I got a blanket, set up the blanket, and had some snacks, and she sat there and she colored. Earlier that morning, she had a major meltdown, toddler meltdown to the max, right? And I knew she probably just needed some mommy time. So I took her, we went to this place, and we just sat there. I didn't check my phone. I didn't check my clock. That's freedom, right? I could clear my schedule for the day, cancel my appointments, cancel my meetings, and then not worry if the house was burning down, right? This picture on the right is me and my sister. So my sister lived in Amsterdam. She came down for my birthday and then got quarantined with me for the last 2 years. And what did she say? She's like, I'm going to teach you yoga. I said, oh, hell no. I hate yoga. I hate yoga. I've always hated yoga. I've never been flexible. I can't do the positions. I can't do all the things with my body. I tried to do gymnastics when I was in elementary school. That didn't work out. I was like, there's no way I'm doing yoga. You see me here, right, doing yoga? She's like, what else are we going to do? I was doing yoga. So then I became her kind of a demo body. So then when she started work again, she's like, oh, I want you to do my classes with me. So she taught, and I was the demo person doing all the moves, because at that point I was like practically advanced, right? What I did learn from yoga that I appreciate now is that the essential part of yoga is breathing. And I didn't realize how much I miss it once things opened back up again and I didn't have my sister pushing me every day. But it's something that I realize is important now, is breathing. So while I was going slow, the world was on fire. People were talking about pandemic burnout. And I realized I just went through a whole experience about burnout. Maybe I should start talking about it. Maybe I should start teaching people. Maybe there are people suffering from it and don't even realize that they're suffering from it. So that's what I did. I started teaching. And through teaching, I started learning. So I was on podcasts, I was being interviewed, just talking about how important burnout was. Stress is a conversation we don't have enough, especially in property management. I was talking to some folks who put on this conference, and they're just like, we've never had a stress management type of workshop. I was like, that's crazy to me. In this industry, stress management doesn't get brought up. So before I share my story, I want to kind of share with you my belief system and why I made the mistakes that I made. So the first one is, I was born to an immigrant family. If any of you were born to an immigrant family, you know you come to this country and you put your blood, sweat, and tears, and you work hard, and you make money, and you live a better life for your children, right? So having 3 jobs was normal. You had your full-time daytime job, you had your full-time nighttime job, and then you had your side hustle where you were selling like Avon and all types of other things, right? That was normal. There was multiple streams of income coming in, and there was no time for you to have idle hands. You should always be doing something. This is why I was stressed out. I didn't realize that working 24 hours a day was not okay. Hustle culture. They coined this phrase because they wanted to normalize busyness and always trying to strive for more. But they don't say the downside of hustle culture is stress and burnout. And for me, money equaled success. So that's what I was striving for. That's why I built a business. I did what I did well, and I made money. And the last thing that is so important is, when I learned this from my mother, self-care is selfish. Do any of you have a mother where love equals food, love equals giving, love equals doing for others, love equals, I'm gonna bend over backwards, it doesn't matter what you want, I will give to you. If you need money, let me check my wallet. Love equals no boundaries. Do you have mothers like that? I see some head nodding. So that's what I had. I had no idea how to take care of myself. No idea. Excuse me. So what's the definition of burnout? Burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive, prolonged stress. It occurs when you feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands. Textbook definition. Here's what it looks like. The 5 phases of burnout. 100% battery life, honeymoon phase. 75% is the onset of stress. Chronic stress is at 50%, burnout's at 25%, habitual burnout at 0%. I'm gonna share with you the mistake I made at each one of these phases and a lesson I want you to walk away with. So just some early career background for me. So I got started in real estate doing mortgage loans in 2004. You guys know what 2004 looked like for mortgage loans, right? Subprime everything. I was a college student, and you can't tell a college student anything. I was there to make money. I got an internship working for a mortgage loan officer, and I said, hey, this looks easy enough, can I do it? And the broker was like, sure. I mean, we're not paying you salary, it's commission only, right? I sold mortgage loans to everyone I could talk to, every family member, everybody. I reached out to everyone. And the thing with subprime loans, why the market crashed, inside tip, is they paid us so freaking well. So it wasn't like standard commission, it was like bonus on top of bonus on top of bonus on top of bonus for very specific products. So if I could make 15 grand on one loan and the standard conventional, fixed APR was like 2 grand, guess what? I was putting them in the 15 grand loan. It doesn't matter if it was better for them to be in a fixed rate loan. I was just looking at the dollar signs. I was uneducated, had no idea what I was doing. I was a contributor of the market crash. I felt guilty about that for a while. I don't now, it just happened. So the market crashed. I was like, I need to do something else. I love real estate, what do I do? And I decided, I'm gonna do wholesaling in Baltimore. Have you guys seen The Wire? I carried a weapon, just so you know. I wasn't going to Baltimore unarmed. Me, I'm little. I may look tall, I'm 5'4". They would have taken me out. So began my journey in property management. Baltimore market wasn't for me. So I moved to the DC market. That was more my thing. So in 2010, I moved to DC, honeymoon phase, right? It's exciting, it's new, I'm driven, I'm doing my thing, I'm scrolling the city, I'm talking to friends and family, I'm like doing it. I was like, I am getting it done. I'm gonna be successful. I'm gonna make money. Mistake number 1. Who here is grinding right now? You're building your business? Yeah. Here's the lesson that I learned. You can't sprint a marathon. Building a business is a marathon, and you can't sprint it. pace yourself. Pace yourself. And I know when you're grinding, you just want success, you just want to keep going. But you got to pace yourself, because this is a long-term thing, right? 2013, 3 years later, I was grinding. I hit gross revenues of over $500K in 3 years. I had hundreds of clients, I had tons of staff, and I had my very first meltdown. I'm gonna tell you what that was like. It was a pivotal moment for me. I got a phone call, I pick up the phone, and it's a client. And he chewed me a new one. It was crazy. It was bad. And all I could do was apologize, because I knew I was messing up. I knew I messed things up. And I had nothing I could say to rebut anything he said to me. So all I could do was just apologize, show him the belly, right? It was sad. And after he chewed me out, I hung up the phone, and of course the whole staff heard, because this is when we were in like one box office, right? There was no walls. And I just knew that the only thing that I could do was just start working to prevent myself from just bawling tears, because that's what I felt like. I had tears welling up in my eyes, and I knew I was gonna start crying. And my colleague comes over and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I just ignored her, and I was like being busy. I was like, any moment I'm gonna cry, don't talk to me. And she left me alone. That year was also the first year I was sick in bed for a week after tax season. Why do I mention tax season? I did operations. Finance was a huge part of my business. And 1099s back in 2013 was all manual. It's not like how it is now. You push a button, 1099s are done. 10,000 clients, done, push of a button, easy button. All of them were one by one. Look at each one, print them off the printer. I mean, it was crazy. Be lucky you're in today. So it drained me, I was done. So I was sick in bed. So here is my lesson number 2. How many of you here would define yourself as a work hoarder? You don't like giving away your work. You don't like delegating. Yep. Guilty, 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 guilty. Right? You can't do it all. It wasn't until that meltdown that I was just like, I can't do all this. I have to delegate. So I delegated. But now we can automate. Technology is amazing. All those vendors, even though they're annoying and they're like salespeople and it's a little too much, they can fix things for us with technology. It's amazing. And some things we just do because we like doing it. Get rid of stuff. Honestly, get rid of it. Nobody needs to do it. Don't delegate it to somebody else. It's a thing, get rid of it, right? We like being busy. We're used to being busy. I think that's the corporate America in us. Just busy work. Excuse me. So 2015, a couple years later, my first milestone, 500 doors under management. You know what else I learned that year? I had to rebuild my system so many times, I didn't know what to do. I band-aided so many things, and then I hit another milestone, and then I hit another milestone, and I have to fix it again, and fix it again, and fix it again. But the one thing I did learn is how to build systems. I know that really well now. The other thing that happened, it was my 3rd year in a row of being sick after tax season, the same time. You may be like, come on, lady, wake up. You could have, like, seriously, you got sick 3 years in a row? I didn't realize it at the time that it was a thing. But the other problem is I hired to solve all my problems. Technology wasn't as advanced as it is now, so I just hired for it. I was like, can't do this? Hire for it. Can't do that? Hire for it. I had so much staff. And I gave them a little pep talk when I hired them. And I was like, if you do not have a meltdown every year, you are not doing your job. No joke. That is the pep talk. I was like, this is fast paced. We are getting it done. We are building this company. You need to have a meltdown. I need to see you crying. Let's practice, right? I had no boundaries. How many of you have clients that call you at times that you should not be answering phone calls? I used to talk about work-life balance. It was such a crock. I was like, have work-life balance. You have unlimited time off. Take time off. And what did they do? They never took time off. I never took time off. I set bad examples. So of course they weren't going to take time off. I promoted people who were putting their blood, sweat, and tears into the company. So what was I really saying by not saying it? I was saying, you should be stressed out, you should be burning out, you should be putting your blood, sweat, and tears into my company, we're gonna make millions of dollars, this is what we're doing. This is our mission. So by 2016, it was all downhill. I hired this consultant one time, and she had this day, it's for leadership, my leadership team. And one day she said, let's go around the room and let's just talk about how we feel. I was like, oh shit. Here we go. Let's talk about our feelings. I just kind of blacked out. I tuned out. I didn't know what was going on. She's like, Rihanna, how do you feel? When she got to me. And I said, I feel like a candle about to go out. And she was like, honey, you have adrenal fatigue. I was like, what? I'm gonna have to Google that later. If you don't know, it's stress-induced fatigue. You're tired because you're stressed out. That's what that means. Also that year, my godbrother, I call him my godbrother, but he's actually the godfather of my oldest daughter. We went to middle school together, we went to high school together, and he almost died. When old people die, you're just like, oh, they're old. When people have a disease, you're like, oh, they had a disease. They had cancer, they died. When someone you know is seemingly healthy almost dies, you start to think about the fragility of life. You're just like, does any of this matter? I could die tomorrow. I could literally be dead. Does any of this matter? I'm building this business. Does it matter? Am I making a difference? Does anybody care? I'm stressed out every day. My kids don't see me. What's the point? I knew I needed to make a change, but I couldn't see my way out. Because I was grinding, right? I was sprinting. All these years, I just was sprinting. Of course, after you sprint a marathon, you land in the hospital. And so I did. I was in the hospital. And I remember the reason I went to the hospital was because I thought I was going blind. One day my vision went blurry and then went black. And I was looking around, I was like, I can't see anything. I literally feel like my vision has gone black. Oh my God, I'm losing my vision. This is crazy. And I got rushed to the hospital. And once I got there, you ever sit in the emergency room, you're like, God, why am I here? I feel sicker being in the emergency room. Things started feeling better, but I was like, I'm already here, let me just get tested and do all the things and whatever. So they tested me for everything. CAT scans, brain scans, scan this and scan that. And at the end, they're like, you look pretty normal. I was like, what just happened to me was not normal. That was not normal. And they're like, based on your symptoms, we think you had a stress-induced migraine. I was like, a headache? Does anyone suffer from migraines? Oh my gosh, this is a common thing. Is blurry vision a part of the migraines? Goodness gracious. And you live with this. The other thing that happened to me that year, 2016, was I reached a zero inbox. Who strives for a zero inbox? Oh my God, every day, right? I did it one time in 10 years, one time. And you know what I did to celebrate? I sat and waited for the next email. I was like, I've delegated everything, I've done everything, what do? I just sit and wait. I had no idea what to do. Sad story. Mistake number 4, and lesson for you. Pushing through the signs. Our bodies are pretty primitive. They leave signs. Usually it's getting sick, things start to fall apart, you start to have all types of illnesses, and the doctor's like, oh, you have a chronic blah, blah, blah. They don't tell you that it's probably because you're stressed out. Stress causes so many things in our lives, and we don't realize it because nobody ever says it's because you're stressed. Listen to your bodies. Your body is telling you what you should be doing. All right, last one, then we're gonna get to the exercises. 2017, I knew I had a problem. I'm an athlete, so what do? I say, I need to exercise. That'll fix it, then I'll be healthy. So I made a New Year's resolution. And I knew I had to have a goal. I couldn't just say, this year I'm gonna go to the gym every day, because I tried that didn't work. So my New Year's resolution was I was going to do a bodybuilding competition. Crazy, right? If you can't tell, I have the natural physique of a bodybuilder. I just don't have the discipline. I wasn't weighing my food. But I was like, this year, I need to be healthy, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it. And then what happens? I get pregnant. I was building bodies in a different way. And every doctor I went to told me, your stress level is too high. This is affecting the baby. And I was like, oh. So not only am I messing up myself, I'm messing up a living being that is about to come into this world. I'm already failing as a mother. Unreal. So they put me as a high-risk pregnancy. You know how stressful it is to be high risk? It's like more stressful. I was at the doctor's office every 2 weeks for them to just be like, you look good, thanks. I was like, just coming here was stressful. I had to drive here. And all the time, I'm waiting for the doctor to say, you know, something's going wrong. But they send in the technician first who can't diagnose you. And then they send in the doctor. And 2 hours later, they're like, you look good. Come in 2 weeks. That was a stressful pregnancy. So I realized my mistake was I didn't have the tools to manage my stress. If exercise was all that was on my list, I was failing. So you need to equip yourself with the tools to manage your stress every day. So that's what we're gonna do today. All right, so I'm gonna skip through some of these slides. Oh, that's my little one. December 2017. Babies really make you change the direction of your life. So back to Lifebook. Thinking about your belief system. there are some things that are ingrained in you deep that you didn't realize that makes you believe that what you do every day and the decisions that you make is okay. You might need to change that. Okay, so get out your pen and paper, get out your phones, you're gonna take some notes. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do an exercise, and we are going to create your 2022 self-care stress management plan. This is a workshop, people. We're gonna participate. All right, so start writing down what you're gonna do every day to manage your stress, what you're gonna do every week, every month, every quarter, every year, and just in case of emergency, in case you get that phone call from an owner who's just like, WTF, and you're just like, I need to lower my stress right now. So I'm gonna go through what I do, so you have a good example, and we'll go through a couple of things, so you have information that you can put in. So I do the savers. Hal Elrod wrote a book called, actually, I'm gonna go to that slide so you can see it. Hal Elrod wrote a book called Miracle Morning, the things you should do before 8 a.m. If you haven't read this book, read it. It is really good. So he talks about the 5 things or 6 things you should do every day, every morning before 8. Silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing, which is just writing, right? You don't have to do all of them. You can do 1 or 2 of them, whatever you want to do. It's just about scheduling some time for yourself every day. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I try to do it as soon as I wake up before the kids come out of bed. Here's the other kind of resource for you. Somebody said something to me and blew my mind. She's like, well, what are your love languages? I was like, that quiz? She's like, yeah, have you ever thought about using it for yourself and not just in a relationship? Not just how you want other people to treat you, but how can you treat you? I was like, oh, I never thought about that. So these are the 5 love languages. There's probably gonna be a few that resonate with you, but on the love language website, if you go there, they have a gift by love language index. The things that you can give to yourself or other people based on their love language. It's really cool, so you should probably check it out. There's things like, if you like acts of service, then you can gift somebody an oil change. Maybe I'll just change my own oil. I don't know. So let me go back to this. One of the things I do now every week is I get a massage. And the reason I get it is because my sister's in massage school, and I am her guinea pig. I didn't realize how much I'd like that. I was like, yes, take care of mommy. Every month, I do a solo-cation. I'm on my solo-cation now. No children in sight. Every quarter, I do what I call Fleet Week. I take all my cars in, and I get all my oil changes done. I get everybody taken care of. It's the only time the cars get washed and vacuumed, because that's the only time I have. Every year, I do something special for myself on my birthday. It's usually something expensive, but I deserve it. Okay, so let's talk about what's in your emergency tool bag. Let me check my time. Okay. So here's some things you can put in your emergency tool bag. Journaling has saved me. I love writing. I love writing things down. I have a journal in my dresser. I write things in my phone. One of my old bosses came up with this thing she called the Love Me file. Back in the day, this was like 2008. Back then, everything was like a real file, right? Manila folder. Now you can just make it electronic. But what she did was she said, shove everything in there of all the really nice things that you've received. You know, a client sends you an email and says, you are so amazing, you are so great, thank you so much, shove it in the file. You get a birthday card, a thank you card, anything like that, shove it in the file, right? And then you're gonna have that nasty client that calls you and is just like, F you, you're incompetent, blah, blah, blah. And you go to your Love Me file and just say, I helped all these people, screw you. Dressing up, looking nice. Sometimes it feels good to dress up. We've been in quarantine way too long. Dress up. You will feel good. Sleep, doing your morning routine, we talked about that. Getting into that community of people who love you, your family, your friends. You need support, you need some loving. I started putting a personal space in my house. It's kind of my home office, but I'm trying to craft it a little bit. It's like a no kid, no dog zone. Nobody can go in there except me. My own space, what I do in there is none of your business. Getting out in nature. I love trees. I didn't realize that. There's something about trees that just makes you breathe better. Exercise, stillness and breathing, healthy eating, music, fun activities, and making sure you protect your energy from the energy draining people. Does any of you have like that client that like as soon as you see their name pop up in the inbox, you're just like, oh, anxiety starts to rise. I hate that. It's like they're having a bad day, so they want you to have a bad day. Sucks. You gotta protect yourself. You don't have to answer that email immediately. Give yourself some time. Do your emergency stuff first, take a walk in nature, do some deep breathing, and then open the email when you feel really good. All right, we don't have time for this, but what we are gonna do is, in the last 5 minutes, I don't wanna hold you, I wanna ask you what you wrote down. I want you to share, because this is a workshop, and the one thing I learned was masterminding and sharing what you're doing is helping other people. Do I have to turn this on? We're good to go? All right, who wants to share?
So there was 2 things that you said. The Love Me file, I actually have a portfolio that I've kept for 16 and a half years. So as property managers, we don't always get kudos, but anytime I get a note, a card, even like Christmas cards, I have it. And so when something goes crazy or I'm cleaning up, I pull it out and it's right there. And then on the personal side, my daughter, who was now 13, when she was 8, she gave me this jar, and it's a Love Me jar. I turned 41, and she wrote 41 reasons why I love you. And so every once in a while, I'll just pull it out, and it's something like random from a child, like because you cook for me or something. And so that's really good to have.
Thank you. Who else wants to share? Come on, it's a workshop, people. Okay. Thanks, Randy.
I am horrible at goals. I have never written them down. I live by the dude philosophy of like the Big Lebowski, and I just kind of just go about my day. And so my goal is to try to create goals, and that's one of the reasons I'm here, because I've been doing this for 25 years.
Oh.
And I had that blow up moment,
Oh.
and I engaged. And you don't engage, you know. I'm like, no, dude, no, don't talk to me like this. Don't tell me to get off my high horse. And he got into it, and I'm going to report you to the real estate commission, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go play golf. And now he's somebody else's problem in my office. And
you delegated.
So I delegated that one. But I still, it bothered me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a likable guy, and I want everybody to like me. And this jerk face, you know, got in my face. And I didn't like that. So that's one of the reasons I'm here. It's like I want to kind of get out of that, hey man, everything's cool, and try to be motivated. So I'm a terrible goal setter, so that's my goal.
That's awesome.
All right.
Who else wants to share? Okay, I'm gonna come back to you.
So my husband and I bought season tickets to the Broadway series play. They're different, like Broadway shows, whatever. And we did it so that we had like a pre-bought, pre-scheduled date night, because that is the only way that we made that a priority.
Yeah.
And we've done it for 4 years now, and we didn't have it last year because of COVID, and like we felt it.
Yeah.
Like our marriage felt it, the family felt it, and then so they finally started back, and I got dressed up, and we went to dinner, and we had a no kids date, and it was just like, ah. So that's one of the monthly things that we do.
Awesome. That's a great idea. I love that. Let me come back up to.
So a couple of months back, I don't know what happened to me, but my back just started hurting, like right in the lower. I was like, shit, maybe I'm just getting old. And the pain came all the way up to my shoulder. And I'm a pretty fit guy. I do kickboxing, and I do a lot of working out. But I'm like, this is not from a kick. Someone kicked me in my ass. And so the pain was just so intense. I was like, okay. And man, we never go to the doctor because we don't think we're getting back out. So, but I went. And I went to the doctor, and he was like, Roland, I think you're stressed. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, that pain you're feeling is because you are way too stressed. And I'm not the type of person, I'm very easygoing, so I don't take things personally. When tenants get upset or owners get upset, I'd be like, that's a you problem. And so I didn't understand what was happening with my back. And so the doctor was like, hey, you need to relax, take a couple of days off. And so what I do to de-stress is I make sure that I attend the key events for family members. So if my cousin just got promoted in the military to like Sergeant Major or something like that, I flew out to Fayetteville, North Carolina for a brag, hung out with his little daughter, and she was hugging me and kissing me the whole time. And I was just like, well, this is heaven, And so I say all that to say, I handle my stress by making sure that I'm there with family and friends, and I just go away from work, go have fun with them, kiss and hug up on the kids, tell my cousins how much better I look than them, and then I come back relaxed and refreshed.
Awesome. Community. I love that. Anyone else?
We have a question from the Zoom chat, or a suggestion.
Yeah.
Kesha says what she does is weekly scheduled facials and massages monthly. She takes a backpacking trip, and quarterly she plans a trip with her husband, and annually she purchases gifts for those in need on her birthday. And then she also just loves providing words of love and wisdom randomly to those lacking love or affirmations in their lives.
I love that. Wow. That's amazing. Anyone else want to share? Do it.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I actually am back into the industry. I was out in 2016 because I too got burnt out. We were managing 225 rentals, my mom and I, so it was kind of hard to have my mom as my boss, and then as my mom. So we actually had a big freeze that year in Grand Junction, and so I was like done. I was like, I'm done. I'm never going to do real estate again. And I was gone for 4 years. And so now that I'm back, now I see that, yeah, these are important. And so one thing, too, that I want to recommend is regular chiropractic care.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Especially to you. It's really, really, really made a big difference in my life in the past 4 years in getting my spine realigned so that I can have a functioning, working nervous system. And then the stress is just not as much when you actually have everything working properly. So I'm just going to put in that little plug.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely great. I love chiropractic care.
So my grandmother passed away, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, and she was really the only reason that we, my immediate family, endured the family get-togethers. And the family get-togethers, you guys, this is a pretty good deal if you can get in on it. My mom and I did all the cooking. My aunt and her family brought the soda for the 25 of them, and we also got to do all the cleaning. So, and I don't care for them, so it was a blast. My mom also works for her brother who treats her poorly, so even more good times there. So anyway, I decided at one point, my daughter was an infant, my mom lives with us, so we're pretty tight-knit family internally. And I was like, Grandma's gone. We don't actually have to hang with them. So we started taking an annual Thanksgiving trip. We would go to Branson. We're from Kansas City. So we would go to Branson, stay in an off-season, lake resort type of thing. And it has become our favorite tradition. And so this year, we went last year. So this year, for the second year, we're going to Gulf Shores, Alabama. Introduced my 15-year-old daughter to the ocean last year, and she will never be the same. So, I've really grown to appreciate that you actually can do whatever you want when you're a grown-up, and you can enjoy the holidays and be with the people that you want to be with.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. The one thing I do want to say to you guys is, all these things are great. I think the problem is, and what you need to be aware of, is that they need to be habits. You need to do them all the time. Family traditions are great because they're built into the system, right? Yours is great, like somebody's forcing you to go to these events, right? They have to be habits. Put them in your schedule. You should be booking your self-care before you book meetings. And don't keep pushing things off. Pre-schedule your vacation time. Take a week off every quarter at the beginning, just in case you push it a little bit further. And even if you are not going anywhere, be off. Turn work off. Things are going to catch on fire whether you're there or not, right? You can't firefight the whole time. It gets really exhausting, and work doesn't stop. So you have to give yourself a break. I have this light bulb in my driveway. It went out, and then I was like, okay, let me replace it. And I couldn't find the right light bulb, so I found another one. It was just like a standard light bulb, and I put it in. And I realized, I thought this was a motion detector. It's always on, all day, all night. So what's gonna happen? It's gonna burn out. Light bulbs do it, we're gonna do it. If it stays on all the time, we're going to burn out. So what I want you to take from this, and not just really about my experience, but how do you pre-schedule your self-care? What do you need to do? Do you need to buy one of those gym passes where you have 10 sessions and you make sure you go? Do you need to just pre-schedule your massages so when you're there, you're just like, I'm here, let me just schedule my massage for next week? What habits can you create to make sure that you're always taking care of yourself? Because if it's not in your schedule, you're not going to do it. You're going to do what's in your schedule, and that's going to be a work meeting. You're going to answer the phone, you're going to talk to clients, you're going to check your emails, and you're not going to care for yourself. And the one thing I learned is nobody cares about you. You have to care about you. Not your spouse, not your clients. So you have to take care of yourself. Okay, the last thing I'm gonna have you guys do before you leave, and you're gonna go to lunch, I want everybody to stand up. I'm gonna make you recite a promise. You're gonna promise me, but you're also gonna be promising yourself, okay? All right, repeat after me. I promise to put myself first, to put my needs before others, to schedule my self-care before any other meetings, to value my health and my time on this earth, and to pay attention to what my body is telling me. You promised yourself. Thanks, guys.